Okay, so I have sanded this down all the way from 60 to 600. Um, it's actually not as smooth as I'd like in some spots because of the cross grain. Sometimes it doesn't get real smooth. It's smooth overall, but not everything that I want. So anyway, what I have here is butcher block finish. It's oil and finish, and it's for food based items. So that means that we can use it for a fruit bowl and put it into put fruit into the bowl without any problem with the wood. So I will do 2 coats of it, but it needs 6 hours in between. And so what I'm going to do is coat it right now, and then we'll let it sit until tonight. And then I do a real light sand with one of the finest sandpapers, and then recoat. And then that means I won't be able to do the inside until later in the week. So I'm going to turn this on pretty low though. And clean cloth. And we will coat it with the butcher block. That should also bring out some of the nice color in the pecan wood. So, let's see how that looks. Ooh, pretty. Brings out some shine too. I also did a little engraving, well, I burned it in. Okay, Patty, so here is the bottom of the bowl finished, and I have coated it with the butcher block finish, which is a waterproof finish for food safe items. So it turned out pretty good. So next what I'm going to do is I have to take it off of this chuck. Remember, it's got the worm screw that it's attached to very tightly. So I'm going to have to take that off of here, and then I will flip the bowl around so that the bottom with this ring is then attached to the chuck, and then I'll be able to carve out the inside. So I'm going to turn it off while I do that, because it's going to take a good bit to get that off of the screw, and then I'll be back. Hello. Okay, so I flipped it over so that the ring is now on the headstock on the chuck. See, it's in there. And I just quickly took one of my angle chisels and I spun it and just took off the wax. So you can see all the white on there. That was actually the wax that was covering the wood. That keeps it from drying out and cracking. So I'm ready to start carving this. So what we're gonna do, you can see the hole from the worm screw. That's what held it on when it was flipped around the other way to carve the outside. So I'm ready to carve out, gouge out the inside of the bowl. So what I do, come around this side, Stephen. I took the ruler right here. I took the ruler and I'm looking to see how deep I want the bowl, the inside to go. Because if I cut too deep, obviously I'll cut right through the bottom of the bowl. So if I do right at about 2 inches, that should be perfect for what I'm trying to do. And so what I'm going to do first is take the fingernail gouge, because it looks like a fingernail. That's why they call it that. I'm actually going to take it and go straight into the bowl in the center and open up the middle bit a little bit to take it in 2 inches to where I need. So I'll turn it on and do that, and we're looking at about there. Okay, so we'll play with that a little bit. Okay, so I shouldn't stick that up on my face. Okay. So, with that, because I'm getting a little bit of shudder, I wanted to make sure that this is still attached good, which it is. So, I'm actually going to switch to my round over and do that in a little bit and see if that goes better. So I'm actually going to do that more as I go, and I'll just measure as I go. So when I use the round over, I'm actually going to go in and just carve through like this, sweeping motions, which come around this side, skirt to back. So it'll be sweeping motions coming in like this, or from the center out. Either way is okay with the round over. And I'll start doing that, and then I'll have to decide how thick I want the walls to be and go in from there. So I'll do a little bit of that, and then we'll stop. Oops, my helmet came off.
Should I stop it?
Okay, so as I'm sure you noticed, the ring on the bottom of the bowl did not hold because it was too narrow. So the pressure from the tools and the spinning broke it. So the bowl is not completely a loss yet. I'm going to see if I can fix it, but I'm going to show you what I need to do for that. Okay, so as you will see, the ring that was on here, let me turn it a little so you can see, it ripped off. So the pressure, it wasn't thick enough for the wood to hold the pressure of the jaws on the chuck. So what I'm going to try to do is take one of my tools and actually cut through this straight down in, so there's a ring where this is, but it goes into the bowl itself. Now the negative to that means that it's going to reduce the depth that I can carve inside the bowl. So we'll see how that goes, but I will try and see what I can do with it. So that'll just be a ring inside the bowl on the bottom. So what I did on this side, because I had already, you saw I was carving a hole into the middle of the inside, so I can no longer use the worm screw. So this is a face plate that goes onto the wood, screws in, and then this screws right onto the headstock. So I'm going to put it on there. So unfortunately, I chipped, when it came off, I nicked up the outside of the bowl, which means I have to go back to the drawing board and clean that up, as well as the bottom. And so I'll have to do that, clean it up, refinish, do the whole outside again, and then go back to trying one more time on the inside. So we'll see. Okay, so I was able to recover the damaged wood. So I carved it down on the sides and the bottom a little bit to get rid of the nicks that were in there, smoothed it out. I carved in an inside thing, so I'm going to clamp it inside there now instead, which should be much more solid and hopefully will work fine. So I'm going to take it off of I screwed the headstock on that I showed you. I'm going to unscrew that, and then I'll flip it around and clamp this on. When I'm done, I'll flip it back over and I'll take off this whole disc and carve it down, and then I'll be able to engrave my my stamp on it. So So I'm going to take it off the headstock, unscrew it, flip it over, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I flipped it over. It's on the chuck now. So now I'm going to carve out the inside. I use this rounded tool that I like a lot, and it just basically will curve in like that, and then we'll see how thick we want to make the wall. So I'll do a little bit, and then we'll see how we do. Hopefully it doesn't fly off this time. Good. We're getting there. We're getting there. So I did a depth hole to show me where to stop. So when I get down to the bottom where there's no more hole, then I know I've reached the depth that I want to go to. And then it's just cleaning out the whole thing so that it's about even on the thickness of the bowl overall.